Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. Today's World News Headline Summary. 1. CNN. 1-1. Supreme Court won't revive Alan Dershowitz's $300 million suit against CNN. The United States Supreme Court has decisively refused to revive a massive $300 million defamation lawsuit filed by prominent attorney Alan Dershowitz against CNN. The legal dispute centered on the network's coverage of remarks he made while defending former President Donald Trump during his 2020 impeachment trial. Dershowitz vehemently argued that the news network intentionally aired only a portion of his comment, effectively distorting his meaning to make him look like he'd lost his mind. However, the lower courts previously tossed out the suit, concluding that the retired Harvard law professor failed to prove CNN acted with actual malice in its reporting. The Supreme Court's majority declined to take up the case in a brief, unexplained order, upholding the landmark protections for press freedom established in New York Times Company v. Sullivan. Vocabulary. Revive. Verb. 부활시키다, 재개하다. The court decided not to revive the controversial lawsuit. Defamation. Noun. 명예훼손. The celebrity filed a defamation claim against the tabloid magazine. Prominent. Adjective. 저명한, 두드러진. She is a prominent figure in the field of international law. Dispute. Noun. 분쟁, 논란. The territorial dispute between the two nations has lasted for decades. Impeachment. Noun. 탄핵. The president faced an impeachment trial due to the scandal. Vehemently. Adverb. 격렬하게, 강력히. The defendant vehemently denied all the allegations made against him. Distort. Verb. 왜곡하다. The media was accused of trying to distort the truth of the incident. Toss out. Phrasal verb. 기각하다. 버리다. The judge tossed out the case, citing a lack of substantial evidence. Malice. Noun. 악의, 적의. The prosecutor must prove that the crime was committed with actual malice. Uphold. Verb. 유지하다. 옹호하다. The Supreme Court voted to uphold the lower court's ruling. 중범비. Actual malice. 실질적 악의. 미국 명예훼손법에서 공인, public figure가 언론을 상대로 승소하기 위해 반드시 입증해야 하는 요건입니다. 언론사가 해당 내용이 거짓임을 알았거나 진실 여부를 무모하게 무시한 채 보도했다는 것을 증명해야 합니다.
임피치먼트, 탄핵. 국가의 고위 공직자가 위법 행위를 했을 때 국회 등의 입법기관이 그를 소추하여 파면하는 절차를 뜻합니다.
Rescuers race to find survivors as death toll rises in twin Venezuela quakes. Twin earthquakes of 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude struck Venezuela's northern coast just seconds apart, causing widespread devastation across the fragile region. Dozens of large buildings have completely collapsed into rubble, particularly in the coastal state of La Guaira and the bustling capital city of Caracas. The death toll continues to rise dramatically as desperate rescuers work tirelessly around the clock to locate survivors trapped underneath the heavy debris. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez immediately declared a state of emergency, while neighboring countries are swiftly mobilizing to send emergency aid. However, the critical search and rescue operations are severely complicated by relentless aftershocks and extensive damage to major transportation infrastructure. Vocabulary. Devastation. Noun. 대대적인 파괴, 참상. The hurricane caused widespread devastation in the coastal town. Fragile. Adjective. 취약한, 부서지기 쉬운. The country's fragile economy was further damaged by the disaster. Collapse. Verb. 무너지다, 붕괴하다. The bridge collapsed under the immense pressure of the floodwaters. Rubble. Noun. 돌무더기, 잔해. Rescue workers pulled a young child from the rubble of the building. Death toll. Noun. 사망자 수.
The official death toll from the earthquake had surpassed 30,000.
The tragedy is expected to rise further. Around the clock, adverbial phrase, 24시간 내내 밤낮 없이. Doctors have been working around the clock to save the injured patients. Trapped, adjective, 갇힌. Many miners were trapped underground after the unexpected explosion. State of emergency, noun phrase, 비상사태. The governor declared a state of emergency to mobilize federal funds. Mobilize, verb, 동원하다, 결집하다. The military was mobilized to assist with the ongoing rescue efforts. Aftershock, noun, 여진. People slept outside due to the terrifying fear of relentless aftershocks. 시사용어 해설. State of emergency, 비상사태. 천재지변이나 전쟁 등 국가적 위기가 발생했을 때 정부가 선포하는 특별 조치입니다. 일반적인 법의 적용을 유보하고 행정권을 강화하여 신속하게 사태를 수습할 수 있게 합니다. 1-3. Deadly European heat wave setting June temp records. A deadly and unyielding heat wave is currently suffocating much of Europe, aggressively shattering historical temperature records for the month of June. Authorities across Spain, France, and the United Kingdom have reported hundreds of heat-related fatalities as the extreme conditions push vulnerable populations to their breaking point. Meteorologists explain that a massive heat dome has firmly established itself over the continent, effectively trapping hot air and preventing any cooling weather systems from moving through. Local governments are urgently advising citizens to remain indoors and hydrate frequently, warning that little relief from rainfall is expected in the coming days. As night temperatures remain uncomfortably high, people are struggling to recuperate without adequate air conditioning. Vocabulary. Unyielding. Adjective. 고집센, 굽히지 않는. The unyielding heat made it impossible to work outside comfortably. Suffocate. Verb. 숨막히게 하다, 질식시키다. The thick smoke from the wildfire threatened to suffocate the town. Shatter. Verb. 산산조각 내다, 경신하다. The talented athlete managed to shatter the world record in the sprint. Fatality. Noun. 사망자, 치사율. The car accident unfortunately resulted in one fatality. Vulnerable. Adjective. 취약한, 상처받기 쉬운. The elderly are particularly vulnerable to extreme weather conditions. Meteorologist. Noun. 기상학자. A meteorologist predicted heavy thunderstorms for the upcoming weekend. Trap. Verb. 가두다, 덫을 놓다. The fallen debris managed to trap several miners underground. Hydrate. Verb. 수분을 공급하다. It is crucial to hydrate regularly when exercising in the blazing sun. Relief. Noun. 안도, 구호, 해소. The cool evening breeze brought some welcome relief from the heat. Recuperate. Verb. 회복하다, 만회하다. He took 2 weeks off work to fully recuperate from the severe flu. 시사용어 해설. 히트돔, 열돔 현상. 대기권 상층의 고기압이 뚜껑처럼 작용해 지표면 근처의 뜨거운 공기를 가두는 현상입니다. 마치 반구형 돔 안에 갇힌 것처럼 열기가 빠져나가지 못해 폭염이 지속됩니다. 2. BBC 2-1. Record-breaking temperatures across the UK and Europe cause widespread disruptions. Record-breaking temperatures have swept across large parts of the UK and Europe during the final week of June, pushing thermometers into unprecedented territory. While some citizens initially enjoyed the abundant sunshine, the extreme heat quickly caused significant disruptions to daily life and critical public services. Vital infrastructure, including railway lines, schools, and emergency medical services, have literally buckled under the immense pressure of the intense heat wave. Meteorologists warn that such severe weather events are becoming alarmingly frequent due to shifting global climate patterns. Consequently, authorities are investigating what caused it and how people coped, while scrambling to upgrade heat resilience measures for the future. Vocabulary. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는. The pandemic caused economic damage on a completely unprecedented scale.
Abundant. Adjective. 풍부한. The region is famous for its abundant natural resources and wildlife. Disruption. Noun. 붕괴, 중단, 차질. The heavy snowfall caused widespread disruption to the local traffic network. Vital. Adjective.
필수적인, 매우 중요한. Regular exercise is vital for maintaining good physical health. Buckle. Verb. 휘어지다, 무너지다. The old iron bridge buckled under the extreme heat of the fire. Frequent. Adjective. 잦은, 빈번한. The city suffers from frequent power outages during the busy summer months. Cope. Verb. 대처하다, 극복하다. She learned new meditation techniques to better cope with work stress. Resilience. Noun. 회복력, 탄력. The community showed remarkable resilience after the devastating flood. Scramble. Verb. 재빨리 움직이다, 쟁탈전을 벌이다. Shoppers scrambled to grab the limited discount items on Black Friday. 잠깐. 시사용어 해설. Infrastructure. 인프라. 철도, 도로, 통신망, 전기망 등 사회나 국가가 정상적으로 작동하기 위해 필요한 필수 기반 시설을 의미합니다. 폭염 등 자연재해 시 가장 먼저 타격을 입어 막대한 경제적 손실을 났습니다. 2-2. Israel and Iran exchange strikes overnight amid rising regional tensions. Israel and Iran have exchanged direct military strikes overnight and into the morning, marking a dangerous escalation for the first time since a fragile ceasefire was agreed upon in April. Tensions are visibly running high in cities like Tel Aviv, as warning sirens disrupt the calm and citizens brace for further conflict. Adding fuel to the geopolitical fire, the Iran-backed Houthi militant group formally confirmed they had launched concurrent attacks on Israeli targets. Global leaders are expressing deep concern over this sudden flare-up, fearing it could easily trigger a broader regional war across the Middle East. Diplomatic channels are now frantically attempting to restore the broken ceasefire before the violence spirals completely out of control. Vocabulary. Exchange. Verb. 교환하다, 주고받다. The two rival politicians aggressively exchanged insults during the live debate. Escalation. Noun. 확대, 확전, 악화. The military buildup raised fears of a dangerous escalation in the region. Ceasefire. Noun. 휴전, 정전. Both warring sides finally agreed to a temporary ceasefire to allow aid in. Run high. Idiom. 감정 등이 고조되다. Tensions are running high ahead of the controversial election results. Brace. Verb. 대비하다. The coastal residents were told to brace for the incoming Category 5 hurricane. Concurrent. Adjective. 동시에 발생하는. The city hosted 3 concurrent cultural festivals over the busy weekend. Flare-up. Noun. 폭발, 분쟁 등의 갑작스러운 발생. A sudden flare-up of violence at the border forced the troops to retreat. Trigger. Verb. 촉발하다, 방아쇠를 당기다. His offensive remarks were enough to trigger a massive public backlash. Frantically. Adverb. 미친 듯이, 극도로 흥분하여. The lost child looked frantically around the crowded shopping mall for his mother. Spiral. Verb. 나선형으로 움직이다, 통제 불능으로 악화되다. The country's severe inflation crisis started to spiral out of control. 시사용어 해설. 휴전. 전쟁이나 무력 충돌 중인 양측이 서로 공격을 일시적 또는 영구적으로 멈추기로 합의하는 것을 뜻합니다. 대리전. 기사 내에 이란의 지원을 받는 후티 반군, Iran-backed Houthi,처럼 강대국이 직접 싸우지 않고 자신들과 뜻을 같이 하는 지역 세력을 지원해 대신 싸우게 하는 형태의 전쟁을 말합니다. 2-3. BBC News prioritizes digital content amid massive 2,000 job cuts. The BBC is undergoing its most drastic downsizing in 15 years, planning to eliminate up to 2,000 jobs in a desperate bid to meet a £500 million savings target. Amid these severe financial cuts, top journalists have been explicitly ordered to prioritize making content for digital platforms like TikTok and Instagram over traditional television and radio broadcasts. The directive effectively downgrades flagship shows such as Radio 4's Today program, causing immense frustration among veteran reporters. While BBC executives argue this shift is necessary to adapt to the rapid shift in audiences towards digital platforms, many insiders fear it will erode the corporation's standard of rigorous public service journalism. The sweeping changes illustrate how disruptive the new digital-first strategy will be for the historic broadcaster. Vocabulary. Drastic. Adjective. 과감한, 극단적인. The company had to take drastic measures to avoid bankruptcy. Downsize. Verb. 규모를 축소하다, 인원을 감축하다. The factory was forced to downsize its workforce due to low demand. Desperate. Adjective. 필사적인, 절망적인. The trapped hikers made a desperate attempt to signal for rescue. Prioritize. Verb. 우선순위를 매기다, 우선시하다. You need to prioritize your daily tasks to manage your time effectively. Directive. Noun. 지시, 명령. The CEO issued a strict directive regarding the new cybersecurity protocol. Downgrade. Verb. 격하하다, 떨어뜨리다. His job title was unfairly downgraded after the recent corporate merger. Flagship. Noun. 주력 상품, 간판 program. The new smartphone is the tech giant's latest flagship model. Adapt. Verb. 적응하다, 맞추다. Businesses must constantly adapt to the ever-changing consumer trends. Erode. Verb. 침식하다, 약화시키다. The constant public scandals will eventually erode the politician's credibility. Rigorous. Adjective. 엄격한, 철저한. The vaccine must pass a rigorous testing process before public distribution. Sweeping. Adjective. 전면적인, 광범위한. The newly elected mayor promised sweeping reforms in the education system. 시사용어 해설. Downsizing. 구조조정, 규모 축소. 기업이나 조직이 비용을 줄이고 효율성을 높이기 위해 인력을 감축하거나 사업 규모를 줄이는 경제활동을 뜻합니다. Flagship. 플래그십, 간판. 원래 해군함대의 사령관이 탄 기함을 뜻하는 단어로 비즈니스나 미디어에서는 한 조직을 대표하는 가장 중요하고 인기 있는 최고의 상품이나 프로그램을 가리킵니다. 3. ABC Australia. 3-1. Australia and EU strike long-awaited trade deal to boost bilateral commerce. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen have officially confirmed the successful conclusion of a long-awaited trade deal between Australia and the European Union. This historic agreement aims to eliminate a vast majority of tariffs and significantly boost bilateral trade, providing substantial economic benefits to both massive regions. Observers note that finalizing the deal has been a grueling process, but both leaders emphasize that it marks a monumental step forward for our interconnected economies. Beyond simple market access, the comprehensive pact strengthens supply chain resilience among Western allies amid growing global geopolitical uncertainties. Consequently, Australian exporters across agricultural and technological sectors are expected to gain highly lucrative access to the European market. Vocabulary. Prime Minister. Noun. 총리, 수상. The Prime Minister announced a new economic stimulus package to the press. Long-awaited. Adjective. 오래 기다리던, 대망의. The long-awaited sequel to the blockbuster movie will finally be released. Eliminate. Verb. 제거하다, 철폐하다. The government plans to eliminate unnecessary regulations for small businesses. Tariff. Noun. 관세. Extremely high tariffs can negatively impact international trade relations. Bilateral. Adjective. 양자간의, 쌍방의. The two nations happily signed a bilateral agreement on environmental protection. Grueling. Adjective. 몹시 힘든, 녹초로 만드는. The marathon runners collapsed in exhaustion after the grueling race. Monumental. Adjective. 기념비적인, 엄청난. The scientific discovery was a monumental achievement in the field of medicine. Interconnected. Adjective. 상호 연결된. The global banking system is highly interconnected and complex. Pact. Noun. 조약, 협정. The countries formed a non-aggression pact to prevent future wars. Resilience. Noun. 회복력, 탄력.
Supply chain resilience is critical to surviving unexpected global shocks. Lucrative. Adjective. 수익성이 좋은. The software startup secured a highly lucrative contract with the military. 시사 용어 해설. Tariff. 관세. 국가 간의 물건을 사고 팔 때 국경을 통과하는 상품에 매기는 세금입니다. 자유무역 협정을 통해 관세를 없애면 eliminate. 수출입 상품의 가격이 낮아져 무역이 훨씬 활발해집니다. Bilateral. 양자 간의, 쌍방의. Bi. 둘과 lateral. 측면. 이 결합된 단어로 두 국가 또는 당사자 간에 맺어지는 관계나 조약을 뜻합니다. 참고 multilateral은 다자 간의 이 뜻을 가집니다.
Number 3. ASIC warns too many Australians' retirement savings are being wiped out. The Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC, has issued a stark warning that far too many Australians are seeing their hard-earned retirement savings completely wiped out. Driven by the crushing cost of living crisis and persistent inflation, desperate retirees are increasingly chasing unrealistic high-yield returns. Unfortunately, this makes them perfect targets for unregulated investment schemes, particularly fraudulent cryptocurrency platforms and shady property funds. ASIC highlighted that the financial devastation ruins lives precisely when people are too old to re-enter the workforce and recover their losses. Authorities are pledging to crack down on predatory financial operators while strongly urging citizens to exercise extreme caution before moving their pension funds. Vocabulary. Stark. Adjective. 냉혹한, 엄연한, 삭막한. The report provided a stark reminder of the harsh realities of poverty. Wipe out. Phrasal verb. 완전히 파괴하다, 휩쓸어버리다. The sudden stock market crash managed to wipe out his entire life savings. Crushing. Adjective. 참담한, 압도적인. The local business suffered a crushing defeat against the giant corporation. Persistent. Adjective. 끈질긴, 지속적인. He had a persistent cough that lasted for more than 3 weeks. High yield. Adjective. 고수익에. High-yield bonds generally carry a significantly greater risk of default. Unregulated. Adjective. 규제받지 않는. The unregulated market allowed scammers to easily deceive innocent consumers. Fraudulent. Adjective. 사기를 치는, 기만적인. The company was heavily fined for making fraudulent claims about its product. Shady. Adjective. 수상한, 그늘진. The politician was accused of being involved in a shady business deal. Devastation. Noun. 황폐화, 파괴. The massive earthquake caused total devastation across the historic city. Crack down. Phrasal verb. 엄중히 단속하다. The police decided to crack down heavily on illegal street racing. Predatory. Adjective. 약탈하는, 포식성애. The lender was sued for its highly predatory loan practices. 시사용어 해설. ASIC. Australian Securities and Investments Commission. 호주의 기업, 시장, 금융 서비스를 규제하는 독립정부기관, 호주 증권투자위원회입니다. 한국의 금융감독원, FSS와 비슷한 역할을 합니다. Yield, 수익률, 투자한 자본 대비 얻어들이는 수익의 비율을 말합니다. High yield, 고수익은 매력적으로 들리지만 금융시장에서 고수익은 필연적으로 고위험, high risk을 동반합니다. 3-3. Half of Parliament was drinking to cope. Former PM reveals dark side of politics. In a highly candid interview, a former Australian Prime Minister exposed the severe psychological toll and dark side of high-level politics. Strikingly, he revealed that during his tenure, half of Parliament was drinking to cope with the crushing stress, isolation, and immense pressure of their roles. This shocking admission sheds light on the notoriously toxic workplace culture hidden behind the polished doors of the nation's capital. The former leader explained that political figures often lack adequate mental health support, leading them to rely heavily on alcohol as a dangerous coping mechanism. His blunt remarks have sparked an intense national debate regarding the welfare of elected officials and the urgent need to reform parliamentary standards. Vocabulary. Candid. Adjective. 솔직한, 숨김없는. The celebrity gave a surprisingly candid interview about her struggles. Toll. Noun. 타격, 피해, 통행료. The prolonged war took a heavy psychological toll on the brave soldiers.
strikingly. Adverb. 놀랍게도, 두드러지게. The two sisters look strikingly similar to each other.
Tenure. Noun. 재임 기간. 임기. During her tenure as CEO, the company's profits doubled. Cope. Verb. 대처하다. 견디다. He started exercising daily to cope with the immense stress of his job. Shed light on. Idiom. 뭐뭐를 조명하다. 밝히다. The new documentary sheds light on the hidden dangers of social media. Notoriously. Adverb. 악명 높게. The local mob boss was notoriously ruthless in his business dealings. Toxic. Adjective. 유해한. 독성애. The toxic workplace environment ultimately led to mass employee resignations. Coping mechanism. Noun phrase. 대처기제. Using humor is a common coping mechanism for dealing with awkward situations. Blunt. Adjective. 직설적인. 퉁명스러운. Her blunt criticism was hard to hear, but it was completely honest. Welfare. Noun. 복지. 안녕. The animal rescue group is deeply concerned about the welfare of the stray dogs. 시사용어 해설. Parliament. 의회. 국회. 국민의 대표들이 모여 법을 만들고 국가의 중요 정책을 결정하는 최고 입법기관입니다. Coping mechanism. 대처기제. 심리학 용어로 인간이 스트레스, 고통 또는 심리적 압박 상황에 직면했을 때 이를 견뎌내고 심리적 안정을 찾기 위해 무의식적 혹은 의식적으로 사용하는 행동이나 습관을 말합니다. 4. The Korea Times. 4-1. Samsung, SK Hynix pledge $519 billion for Southwestern chip hub and AI expansion. South Korea has unveiled a massive blueprint for strategic megaprojects centered entirely on next-generation semiconductors, physical AI, and AI data centers. Leading tech giants Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix will invest a combined 800 trillion won, $519 billion, to establish a new semiconductor manufacturing complex in the southwestern Honam region. This bold initiative seeks to create robust new growth engines while explicitly promoting balanced regional development beyond the crowded Seoul metropolitan area. Government officials and corporate leaders emphasize that securing artificial intelligence capabilities is absolutely crucial for the nation to survive the fierce global tech race. Ultimately, policymakers hope these knowledge-intensive investments will revitalize struggling rural communities and effectively reverse the ongoing demographic decline. Vocabulary. Unveil. Verb. 발표하다. 베일을 벗기다. The tech company will finally unveil its latest smartphone model tomorrow. Blueprint. Noun. 청사진. 계획. The mayor proudly presented a detailed blueprint for the city's future development. Semiconductor. Noun. 반도체. Taiwan is a recognized global leader in semiconductor manufacturing. Combined. Adjective. 결합된. 합계. The combined efforts of the medical team led to a highly successful surgery. Initiative. Noun. 주도권. 새로운 계획. The government introduced a bold new initiative to reduce carbon emissions. Robust. Adjective. 탄탄한. 강력한. The country's economy showed robust growth despite the recent global crisis. Explicit. Adjective. 명시적인. 분명한. The teacher gave the students explicit instructions on how to complete the exam. Metropolitan. Adjective. 대도시의. 수도권의. The massive metropolitan area suffers from severe daily traffic congestion. Crucial. Adjective. 중대한. 결정적인. Effective teamwork is a crucial factor in achieving our company's ultimate goals. Fierce. Adjective. 치열한. 맹렬한. The two rival companies are locked in a fierce battle for market dominance. Revitalize. Verb. 새로운 활력을 주다. The local government aims to completely revitalize the abandoned downtown district. Demographic. Adjective. 인구 통계학에. The nation is facing unique challenges due to rapid demographic changes. 시사용어 해설. Physical AI. 물리적 AI. 단순히 소프트웨어 형태로만 존재하는 AI가 아니라 로봇, 드론, 자율주행차 등 현실 물리 세계의 기계와 결합되어 실제로 사물을 통제하고 움직이게 하는 진화된 인공지능을 뜻합니다. Demographic decline. 인구 감소. 출산율 저하 및 고령화로 인해 국가나 특정 지역의 총 인구수가 줄어드는 현상입니다.
기사에서는 일자리 부족으로 인한 지방 소멸 위기를 타개하기 위한 수단으로 산업 투자를 제시하고 있습니다.
4.2. New risks lurk for Korea-U.S. shipbuilding partnership amid U.S. defense amendment. A newly proposed amendment to the U.S. National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, threatens to complicate the emerging U.S. shipbuilding partnership between South Korea and the United States. Intended strictly to promote the domestic U.S. shipbuilding industry, the amendment explicitly prohibits the procurement of any battle force ships or core parts built in foreign shipyards. However, experts argue this absolute ban directly contradicts the broader U.S. defense strategy, especially given that the American Navy is grappling with severe workforce shortages and massive construction delays. With China currently producing over 50% of global shipbuilding, the U.S. critically needs capable allies like South Korea to maintain adequate maritime strength in the Pacific. Consequently, this protectionist legislation introduces hidden risks that could undermine joint deterrence efforts against rival nations. Vocabulary. Lurk. Verb. 숨어있다. 도사리다. Unknown dangers lurk in the dark and unlit alleys of the city. Amendment. Noun. 개정. 수정안. The senator proposed a controversial amendment to the existing tax law. Prohibit. Verb. 금지하다. The school strictly prohibits students from using their smartphones during class. Procurement. Noun. 조달. 구매. The military's slow procurement process caused dangerous delays in getting new weapons. Contradict. Verb. 모순되다. 반박하다. His recent actions directly contradict the public statements he made yesterday. Grapple with. Phrasal verb. 뭐뭐와 씨름하다. 고심하다. The new government is severely grappling with a massive economic crisis. Maritime. Adjective. 바다에, 해양에. The coastal nation boasts a rich and ancient maritime history. Protectionist. Adjective. 보호무역주의에. The president implemented heavily protectionist policies to save local factories. Legislation. Noun. 법률, 재정법. The new environmental legislation will heavily restrict industrial carbon emissions. Undermine. Verb. 약화시키다, 훼손하다. Constant harsh criticism will eventually undermine the young child's confidence. Deterrence. Noun. 제지, 억지력. Nuclear weapons act as a powerful form of military deterrence against attacks. 시사용어 해설. 내셔널 디펜스 어소라이제이션 액트, NDAA, 국방수권법은 미국 의회가 매년 통과시키는 국방부 예산과 정책에 관한 법률입니다. 미국의 안보 방향을 결정짓는 핵심 법안입니다. 프로텍셔니스트, 보호무역주의. 자국의 산업을 보호하기 위해 수입품에 높은 관세를 매기거나 수입량을 제한하거나 자국산 물품만을 쓰도록 강제하는 경제정책의 성향을 뜻합니다.
4.3. Korea's long wait for equality law frustrates LGBTQ+ community. June is universally celebrated as Pride Month, decorated with vibrant rainbow flags across much of the developed world. But such public displays remain notably absent in South Korea. Even major Korean corporations that actively create pride campaigns for their overseas markets tend to stay completely quiet at home, deeply wary of the conservative backlash that public support can invite. This corporate reticence accurately reflects a much deeper societal gap regarding minority rights. Currently, South Korea remains one of only 2 OECD members, alongside Japan, that completely lacks a comprehensive anti-discrimination law. Human rights activists continue to express profound frustration over the endless political delays, demanding that lawmakers finally pass equality legislation to protect marginalized communities. Vocabulary. Vibrant. Adjective. 활기찬, 강렬한, 생생한.
The artist used incredibly vibrant colors to paint the beautiful sunset. Absent. Adjective. 없는, 결석한. Public funding for the Essential Arts program is notably absent this year.
Wary. Adjective. 뭐뭐를 조심하는, 경계하는. Investors are extremely wary of putting their money into the unstable market. Backlash. Noun. 반발, 반동. The controversial new policy caused a massive public backlash against the mayor. Reticence. Noun. 과묵함, 말 없음. Her natural reticence makes it somewhat difficult to know what she's thinking. Lack. Verb. 뭐뭐가 없다, 부족하다. The remote village severely lacks access to clean drinking water and medicine. Comprehensive. Adjective. 포괄적인, 종합적인. The school offers a very comprehensive guide to mental health resources. Anti-discrimination. Noun. 차별 반대, 금지. The company implemented strict anti-discrimination training for all its employees. Profound. Adjective. 엄청난, 깊은. The philosopher's teachings had a profound impact on my personal worldview. Marginalized. Adjective. 소외된, 주변화된. The charity focuses solely on helping highly marginalized and vulnerable youth. 시사 용어 해설. Pride Month. Pride Month. 매년 6월 성소수자, LGBTQ+ 인권을 존중하고 다양성을 기념하기 위해 세계 각국에서 열리는 인권의 달을 뜻합니다. 무지개, Rainbow가 대표적인 상징입니다. Anti-discrimination law, 차별금지법. 성별, 장애, 인종, 출신 국가, 성적 지향 등을 이유로 고용, 교육, 서비스 등에서 합리적인 이유 없이 차별하는 것을 금지하는 법안을 말합니다. 5. The Korea Herald. 5-1. More Korean men than ever are choosing to be full-time homemakers. More than 250,000 men in South Korea have voluntarily taken themselves out of the active labor force to become full-time homemakers. Recent government statistics revealed a striking 16.6% increase in men dedicated entirely to childcare or housework compared to the exact same quarter last year. Although the sheer number of female homemakers, at roughly 6.5 million, still heavily dwarfs that of their male counterparts, the historical gap is gradually but surely narrowing. Social experts largely attribute this emerging trend to changing societal views toward gender equality and a noticeable increase in men utilizing state-supported parental leave. Ultimately, the data highlights a highly meaningful departure from the historically rigid division of labor in traditional Korean households. Vocabulary. Voluntarily. Adverb. 자발적으로. He voluntarily resigned from his position to spend more time with his family. Labor force. Noun phrase. 노동인구, 경제활동인구. The aging population has led to a noticeable decrease in the active labor force. Homemaker. Noun. 전업주부. My father decided to become a full-time homemaker while my mother worked. Striking. Adjective. 눈에 띄는, 놀라운. There is a striking resemblance between the famous actor and his younger brother. Dwarf. Verb. 무색하게 하다, 작아 보이게 하다. The massive new skyscraper totally dwarfs all the surrounding older buildings. Counterpart. Noun. 상대방, 상응하는 사람, 컵. The CEO met with his European counterparts to discuss the global merger. A를 B의 덕, 탓으로 돌리다. The team manager attributed their sudden success directly to hard training. Noticeable. Adjective. 눈에 띄는, 뚜렷한. There was a very noticeable improvement in her health after she started exercising. Parental leave. Noun phrase. 육아휴직. The progressive company extended the duration of paid parental leave for fathers. Departure. Noun. 출발, 떠남, 관습으로부터의 탈피. His modern artistic style is a radical departure from traditional painting methods. Rigid. Adjective. 엄격한, 융통성 없는. The military operates under a set of extremely rigid rules and protocols. 주사용어 해설. Economically inactive. 비경제 활동 인구. 만 15세 이상 인구 중 일할 의사나 능력이 없어 취업도, 구직 활동도 하지 않는 사람들을 뜻합니다. 육아나 가사를 전담하는 전업주부, 학생, 은퇴자 등이 여기에 포함됩니다. 5-2. Heat wave alert issued for entire Seoul amid scorching temperatures. The Korea Meteorological Administration officially issued a heat wave advisory for the entirety of Seoul on Monday, marking the very first such alert for the capital city this year. The critical advisory took effect as of 11 a.m. local time, aggressively warning residents of scorching temperatures. In South Korea, a heat wave advisory is formally issued whenever the maximum apparent temperature is highly expected to remain at or above a sweltering 33 degrees Celsius for 2 or more consecutive days. In addition to the bustling capital area, similar alerts were also activated for central cities, including Gongju, Cheongju, and Sejong. Health authorities strongly advise the public to stay hydrated and completely avoid outdoor activities during the peak afternoon hours. Vocabulary. Meteorological. Adjective. 기상에, 기상하게. The meteorological agency accurately predicted the path of the incoming typhoon. Advisory. Noun. 주의보, 경보. A severe winter storm advisory has been issued for the entire northern region. Take effect. Idiom. 효력을 발생하다, 시행되다. The strict new traffic regulations will take effect starting next Monday.
Scorching. Adjective. 몹시 뜨거운, 찌는 듯한. They walked quickly across the beach to avoid burning their feet on the scorching sand. Apparent temperature. Noun phrase. 체감온도. Due to the incredibly high humidity, the apparent temperature feels much hotter. Sweltering. Adjective. 푹푹 찌는, 무더운. We spent the entire sweltering afternoon swimming in the cold pool. Consecutive. Adjective. 연속적인. It has rained heavily for 5 consecutive days without a single break. Activate. Verb. 작동시키다, 발효하다. You need to press the red button to manually activate the emergency alarm. Hydrate. Verb. 수분을 공급하다. Drinking plenty of water is the best way to hydrate your body in summer. Peak. Adjective. 절정에, 최고조에. Electricity prices are notably much more expensive during peak usage hours. 시사용어 해설. Apparent temperature. 체감온도. 온도계에 측정된 실제 물리적 온도가 아니라 습도나 바람 등을 종합하여 사람의 피부가 실제로 느끼는 온도를 말합니다. 폭염특보의 기준은 단순 기온이 아닌 이 체감온도를 바탕으로 발령됩니다.
5-3. Outgoing coach and players return home to booze after World Cup exit. Former head coach Hong Myung-bo and select players of the South Korean men's national football team were met with furious boos from angry fans as they returned home following a disappointing early exit from the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The beleaguered squad landed at Incheon International Airport just over 24 hours after Hong abruptly announced his resignation to take full responsibility for the team's dismal performance in the group stage. Hundreds of deeply frustrated fans gathered to loudly voice their intense anger, with some aggressively shouting insults and holding banners reading, "Korean football is dead." Because the environment was so hostile and tense, heavily armed police officers had to tightly cordon off a secure path to protect the team. Unsurprisingly, the Korea Football Association decided to entirely skip holding an official welcome ceremony. Vocabulary. Outgoing. Adjective. 물러나는, 떠나는. The outgoing president gave a touching farewell speech to his loyal supporters. Furious. Adjective. 몹시 화가 난, 맹렬한. The coach was absolutely furious with the referee's highly controversial decision. Beleaguered. Adjective. 사면 초가에 몰린, 괴로움 받는. The beleaguered company is struggling desperately to pay off its massive debts. Abruptly. Adverb. 갑자기, 돌연. The meeting ended abruptly when the fire alarm loudly went off. Resignation. Noun. 사임, 사퇴. The scandalous rumors eventually forced the minister to submit his resignation. Dismal. Adjective. 참담한, 형편없는. The team's truly dismal performance deeply disappointed their dedicated loyal fans. Frustrated. Adjective. 좌절한, 짜증나는. She felt completely frustrated when her computer crashed just before the deadline. Hostile. Adjective. 적대적인.
The witness faced a very hostile crowd outside the heavy courthouse doors. Cordon off. Phrasal verb. 출입을 통제하다. The police cordoned off the entire street to investigate the sudden explosion. Skip. Verb. 건너뛰다. 생략하다. I decided to skip breakfast today because I was running very late for work. 시사용어 해설. 그룹 스테이지. 조별리그. 월드컵 등 스포츠 토너먼트에서 본선 초반에 여러 팀을 몇 개의 조로 나누어 각 조 안에서 경기를 치러 상위 팀을 가려내는 예선 단계입니다. 여기서 탈락하면 knockout stage, 토너먼트 또는 결선에 진출하지 못합니다.
6. CGTN 6-1. China pledges additional 14 million USD in emergency aid to Venezuela following quakes. The Chinese government has officially pledged to provide an additional 100 million yuan, approximately $14 million, in emergency humanitarian assistance to Venezuela following the country's devastating twin earthquakes. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson confirmed that this new financial package will consist primarily of urgent relief supplies, intended to actively support immediate disaster rescue operations and post-earthquake reconstruction efforts. In addition to robust state-level financial support, Chinese enterprises and local community organizations operating in Venezuela have voluntarily contributed heavy engineering equipment and essential medical supplies. Furthermore, China has provided highly advanced satellite imagery to effectively assist Venezuelan authorities in their critical search and rescue missions across affected areas. Vocabulary. Pledge. Verb. 약속하다. 맹세하다. The government pledged to build more affordable housing over the next 5 years. Humanitarian. Adjective. 인도주의적인. The Red Cross delivered vital humanitarian aid to the displaced war refugees. Assistance. Noun. 도움. 지원. We are extremely grateful for your generous financial assistance during this crisis. Devastating. Adjective. 대단히 파괴적인. The devastating typhoon left thousands of innocent people completely homeless. Relief supply. Noun phrase. 구호물자. Military helicopters successfully dropped heavy relief supplies to the isolated village. Reconstruction. Noun. 재건. 복구. Post-war reconstruction of the damaged capital city will take several decades. Enterprise. Noun. 기업. 사업. State-owned enterprises play a massive role in the nation's rapid economic growth. Voluntarily. Adverb. 자발적으로. Many citizens voluntarily offered their own homes to shelter the displaced victims. Imagery. Noun. 화상. 영상. 이미지. The drone captured stunning high-resolution imagery of the vast mountain range. 희사요와 해설. Humanitarian assistance. 인도적 지원. 재난. 전쟁 등으로 생존의 위협을 받는 사람들을 위해 국적이나 이념을 초월해 제공하는 순수한 구호 활동입니다. Post-earthquake reconstruction, 지진 후 재건. 단순한 인명 구조가 끝난 뒤 파괴된 도로, 다리, 병원 등 사회의 필수 기능을 다시 짓고 복구하는 장기적인 과정을 의미합니다. 6-2. Pakistan claims killing 29 militants along Afghan border in air and ground operations. Pakistan's security forces recently carried out highly coordinated ground and air operations along the porous Pakistan-Afghanistan border, killing at least 29 suspected militants. The Pakistani information minister proudly announced that targeted airstrikes efficiently destroyed large quantities of weapons and ammunition belonging to extremist factions. However, the complex operation has quickly ignited a fierce diplomatic row between the neighboring nations. The Afghan Taliban swiftly retaliated with a furious public statement, claiming that dozens of innocent civilians, heavily including women and children, were tragically killed or injured in the unprovoked strikes. An Afghan spokesperson strongly condemned the military action, labeling it a cowardly act of aggression and a brutal crime against humanity. Vocabulary. Militant. Noun. 무장반군. 투사. The military launched an attack against the heavily armed militant group. Coordinate. Verb. 조직화하다, 조정하다. The various relief agencies need to coordinate their efforts to maximize efficiency. Porous. Adjective. 구멍이 많은, 국경 경계가 허술함.
Smugglers easily crossed the highly porous border between the two countries. Ammunition. Noun. 탄약. 무기. The soldiers completely ran out of food and ammunition during the fierce battle. Ignite. Verb. 불을 붙이다, 논란 등을 촉발하다. His highly controversial remarks were enough to ignite a fierce political debate. Diplomatic row. Noun phrase. 외교적 분쟁, 마찰. The spy scandal caused a severe diplomatic row between the two allied nations. Retaliate. Verb. 보복하다, 응수하다. If the enemy attacks our base, we will immediately retaliate with overwhelming force. Unprovoked. Adjective. 정당한 이유 없는, 도발받지 않은. The unprovoked attack on the peaceful civilians horrified the international community. Condemn. Verb. 규탄하다, 비난하다. World leaders gathered to loudly condemn the dictator's terrible human rights abuses. Aggression. Noun. 침략, 공격. The unprovoked military invasion was seen as a clear act of legal aggression. 시사용어 해설. Airstrike. 공습. 전투기, 폭격기, 드론 등 공중전력을 이용해 지상이나 해상의 군사 목표물을 타격하는 전술입니다. Militant. 무장단체, 반군. 정규군이 아니면서 무기를 들고 폭력적인 방법으로 자신들의 정치적, 종교적 목적을 달성하려는 집단을 말합니다. 테러리스트와 유사한 문맥으로 쓰이기도 합니다.
Number 6. 3. China activates Level 4 geological disaster response after M5.5 quake in Sichuan. China's Ministry of Emergency Management has swiftly activated a Level 4 national emergency response for geological disasters following a magnitude 5.5 earthquake in southwestern Sichuan province. Local authorities happily confirmed that no deaths have been reported so far, though a handful of residents sustained minor injuries after the tremor violently shook Gaoshan County. In response, the central government has immediately dispatched a specialized working group to the quake-hit area to carefully guide local relief and rescue efforts. The ministry explicitly urged regional officials to maintain high vigilance against secondary geological hazards, such as dangerous landslides triggered by the shaking. Additionally, they ordered enhanced monitoring and early warnings to promptly relocate vulnerable people from identified danger zones. Vocabulary. Emergency response. Noun phrase. 비상대응. The quick emergency response saved hundreds of lives during the massive flood over the weekend. Geological. Adjective. 지질학적인. The region's geological features make it highly prone to frequent earthquakes. Sustain. Verb. 부상 등을 입다. 지속하다. The driver sustained only minor injuries after the terrible car crash. Tremor. Noun. 미진. 떨림. We felt a slight tremor under our feet just before the major earthquake hit. Dispatch. Verb. 파견하다. 보내다. The hospital dispatched 3 ambulances quickly to the scene of the terrible accident. Vigilance. Noun. 경계. 조심. Constant vigilance is absolutely required when walking alone through the dark forest. Secondary. Adjective. 2차적인, 부차적인. The loud explosion caused massive secondary fires in the neighboring buildings. Hazard. Noun. 위험, 요소. Uncovered electrical wires present a huge safety hazard for crawling children. Landslide. Noun. 산사태. The heavy monsoon rains triggered a deadly landslide that buried the small village. Relocate. Verb. 이전시키다, 대피시키다. The government plans to relocate the poor residents living in the dangerous flood zone. 시사용어 해설. Level 4 response. 4급 대응. 중국의 국가 비상사태 대응 시스템 중 가장 낮은 단계, 1급이 최고 등급으로 대규모 인명피해는 없으나 중앙의 지원이나 모니터링이 필요한 지역적 재난 시 발령됩니다. Secondary geological hazard. 2차 지질재해. 지진, 본진 자체가 끝난 뒤 지반이 약해진 상태에서 비가 오거나 여진이 발생해 일어나는 산사태, 지반 침하, 토성류 등의 추가적인 재해를 말합니다. 7. NHK World Japan. 7-1. Japan issues updated safe travel guidelines following series of regional earthquakes. Following recent seismic activities, including a notably strong earthquake offshore of Iwate Prefecture, Japanese authorities have promptly updated their official safe travel guidelines for international tourists. The Japan National Tourism Organization, JNTO, assures worried potential visitors that accommodations, popular sightseeing spots, and transport facilities are operating entirely as usual.
Japan's sophisticated emergency warning systems, such as the J-Alert network, remain fully functional to instantly notify the public of any tsunami warnings or volcanic eruption alerts. However, as a sensible precaution, tourists are strongly advised to check official local websites and download vital disaster preparedness applications before visiting specific regions. The government consistently emphasizes its unwavering commitment to ensuring the ultimate safety and peace of mind of all international travelers. Vocabulary. Seismic. Adjective. 지진해, 지진의 이한. Japan strictly enforces building codes due to highly frequent seismic activities.
Offshore. Adjective. 앞바다에, 연안에. The new offshore wind farm generates enough electricity to power the entire city. Promptly. Adverb. 신속하게, 즉시. The customer service team responded very promptly to my urgent complaint. Assure. Verb. 안심시키다, 장담하다. The CEO confidently assured the investors that the company's financial status is stable. Accommodation. Noun. 숙박시설. We need to book our flight and accommodation long before the busy holiday season. Fully functional. Adjective phrase. 완전히 제 기능을 하는. The hospital's backup emergency generator is fully functional during blackouts. Instantly. Adverb. 즉각적으로. The software updates automatically and applies the necessary changes almost instantly. Precaution. Noun. 예방조치. 조심. You should always lock your doors at night as a basic safety precaution. Preparedness. Noun. 준비태세. 대비. Disaster preparedness is absolutely essential for communities near active fault lines. Unwavering. Adjective. 확고한. 변함없는. She has my unwavering support in her difficult fight against the illness. 시사 용어 해설. J-Alert. 일본 전국 순시 경보 시스템. 지진, 쓰나미, 화산 폭발, 미사일 발사 등 국가적 긴급 사태 발생 시 인공위성을 통해 지자체의 스피커나 주민들의 휴대폰으로 수초 내의 경보를 전송하는 일본의 첨단 조기 경보 네트워크입니다. 7.2. Strong magnitude 5.6 earthquake strikes west of Tokyo in Yamanashi Prefecture. A strong earthquake registering a magnitude of 5.6 abruptly struck just west of Tokyo on Friday evening, causing sudden alarm across the densely populated metropolitan area. The Japan Meteorological Agency precisely pinpointed the epicenter within Yamanashi Prefecture, a region famous for the picturesque Fuji 5 lakes. According to official reports, the tremor measured an intense intensity of lower 6 on the Japanese seismic scale in the hardest-hit local areas. This level of shaking is severe enough to make it highly difficult for people to remain standing and can cause heavy, unsecured furniture to topple over. While no catastrophic damage has been immediately reported, anxious residents remain on high alert for potentially dangerous aftershocks. Vocabulary. Abruptly. Adverb. 갑자기. 돌연. The joyful music stopped abruptly when the angry manager walked into the room. Pinpoint. Verb. 정확히 찾아내다. The highly trained radar system can pinpoint the exact location of the enemy ship. Epicenter. Noun. 진앙. 발생지. The destructive epicenter of the massive earthquake was located deep under the ocean. Picturesque. Adjective. 그림같이 아름다운. We rented a small cabin in a very picturesque village up in the mountains. Intensity. Noun. 강도. 격렬함. The surprising intensity of the storm caught all the local residents completely off guard. Seismic. Adjective. 지진해. Japan enforces incredibly strict building codes to withstand frequent seismic activity. Severe. Adjective. 심각한. 극심한. The drought caused a severe shortage of clean drinking water in the region. Unsecured. Adjective. 고정되지 않은. 안전하지 않은. The unsecured cargo violently shifted around in the back of the speeding truck. Topple. Verb. 넘어지다. 쓰러뜨리다. The incredibly strong winds threatened to topple the ancient oak tree. Catastrophic. Adjective. 파멸적인. 대재앙이. The failure of the main dam would result in a catastrophic flood downstream. 시사 용어 해설. Japanese seismic scale. 일본 진도 계급. 신도. 지진이 방출한 총 에너지를 뜻하는 규모, magnitude와 달리 특정 장소에서 사람이나 건물이 실제로 느끼는 흔들림의 세기를 0에서 7까지 나타낸 척도입니다. 기사 속 lower 6, 육약은 서 있기가 곤란하고 창문 유리가 파손될 수 있는 상당히 강한 흔들림입니다.
7.3. Popular NHK historical dramas and comedies set to arrive on Netflix Japan. In a highly celebrated move for Japanese television fans, multiple classic NHK historical dramas and beloved comedies are officially coming to Netflix Japan this June. According to recent platform announcements, at least 5 major titles, including the critically acclaimed taiga drama Strategist Kanbei and the heartwarming morning series Manpuku, will finally be available for streaming. Historically, Japan's national public broadcaster has been somewhat conservative regarding the external digital distribution of its premium flagship content. However, this fresh partnership highlights a strategic shift toward embracing global streaming giants to effectively reach younger, more digital native audiences. Enthusiastic fans online are already expressing immense excitement over the chance to easily re-watch their favorite nostalgic television moments. Vocabulary: celebrated. Adjective: 유명한, 칭송받는. The highly celebrated author finally released his first new novel in 10 years. Critically acclaimed. Adjective phrase: 비평가들의 찬사를 받은. The critically acclaimed indie movie won 3 prestigious awards at the festival. Heartwarming. Adjective: 마음이 따뜻해지는. The charity event was a truly heartwarming display of community solidarity. Conservative. Adjective: 보수적인. The traditional bank has a very conservative approach to high-risk investments. Distribution. Noun. 유통, 분배. The efficient distribution of fresh food is critical during a severe natural disaster. Flagship. Noun. 간판 상품, 프로그램. 주력. The highly anticipated electric vehicle is the automaker's new flagship model. Embrace. Verb. 수용하다, 껴안다. The school eagerly decided to embrace new educational technologies for students. Digital native. Noun. 형용사. 디지털 원주민이. Digital native teenagers easily adapt to completely new software interfaces. Enthusiastic. Adjective: 열성적인, 열광적인. The crowd gave an enthusiastic round of loud applause after the performance. Nostalgic. Adjective: 향수를 불러일으키는. Listening to that old pop song makes me feel incredibly nostalgic for my childhood. 주. 시사 용어 해설. 타이가 드라마, 대하 드라마. NHK가 매년 1년간 방영하는 대규모 제작비의 역사극 시리즈를 말합니다. 일본 내에서 엄청난 인지도와 시청률을 자랑하는 간판 콘텐츠입니다. 디지털 디스트리뷰션, 디지털 유통. 과거처럼 DVD나 비디오 테이프 등 물리적 매체를 통해서가 아니라 넷플릭스, 아마존 프라임과 같은 온라인 스트리밍 플랫폼, OTT를 통해 영상 콘텐츠를 소비자에게 전달하는 방식을 의미합니다. 8. Al Jazeera. 8.1. Russia-Ukraine war. Why has Putin rejected limits on long-range strikes? Russian President Vladimir Putin has firmly rejected Ukraine's recent proposals to mutually limit the use of destructive long-range missiles and permanently halt cross-border hostilities. This uncompromising political decision comes precisely as Ukraine aggressively ramps up strategic drone attacks on Russia's vital domestic energy infrastructure, including massive oil refineries located hundreds of kilometers away from the military front line. Ukrainian military officials openly state that targeting these crucial logistics hubs is absolutely essential to deliberately starve the Russian front line of fuel and necessary combat supplies. Meanwhile, Russia reported successfully intercepting and shooting down over 100 incoming Ukrainian drones across various strategic regions. Ultimately, the outright rejection of these limits strongly indicates a prolonged and extremely dangerous escalation in the more than 4-year-long conflict. Vocabulary: reject,
verb. 거절하다, 거부하다. The committee rejected the expensive proposal due to a lack of sufficient funding. Mutually. Adverb. 상호간에, 서로. The two companies agreed to a mutually highly beneficial business partnership. Halt. Verb. 멈추다, 중단시키다. The factory suddenly halted production to rapidly upgrade its manufacturing equipment. Hostility. Noun. 적대감, 적대행위, 교전. The peace treaty was signed to officially end the bitter hostilities between the nations. Uncompromising. Adjective. 타협하지 않는, 단호한. The tough labor union maintained an uncompromising stance during the wage negotiations. Ramp up. Phrasal verb. 늘리다, 증가시키다. The manufacturer plans to significantly ramp up production ahead of the holiday season. Vital. Adjective. 생명 유지에 필수적인, 중요한. Tourism plays a very vital role in financially supporting the small island's economy. Refinery. Noun. 정제소, 정유공장. The accidental fire at the oil refinery caused a sharp drop in domestic fuel supplies. Starve. Verb. 굶주리게 하다, 고갈시키다. The brutal siege was a tactic heavily intended to starve the enemy forces into surrender. Outright. Adjective. 전면적인, 완전한. The government issued an outright absolute ban on smoking in all public interior spaces.
Escalation. Noun. 확대, 악화, 확전. The sudden military buildup quickly raised terrible fears of a dangerous escalation. 시사용어 해설. Logistics hub. 물류 거점. 군대나 산업에서 무기, 연료, 식량 등이 한 곳에 모였다가 각지로 배분되는 핵심 기지를 말합니다. 현대전에서 물류 거점이 파괴되면 최전선의 군인들은 실질적인 전투 능력을 빠르게 상실하게 됩니다. Escalation, Escalation, 확전. 분쟁, 위기, 폭력의 강도가 보복을 거듭하며 단계적으로 상승하여 통제하기 어려운 상태로 번지는 현상을 의미합니다. 국제 정치에서 가장 경계하는 최악의 시나리오 중 하나입니다.
8-2. Late goal gives Canada first ever World Cup knockout stage victory. The Canadian men's national football team has secured a historic 1-0 victory over South Africa, advancing to the World Cup knockout stage for the very first time in their history. The highly intense match remained in a tense, nail-biting deadlock until the final moments of the game. During stoppage time, midfielder Steven Eustachio delivered a spectacular long-distance strike that successfully pierced the opponent's tight defense, clinching the dramatic win. This unprecedented achievement has sent massive waves of euphoric celebration all across Canada, elevating the sport's domestic popularity to entirely new heights. Sports analysts praised the team's relentless physical endurance and exceptional tactical discipline under immense pressure on the global stage. Vocabulary. Secure. Verb. 확보하다, 획득하다. The exhausted home team managed to secure a narrow victory in the final minutes. Knockout stage. Noun phrase. 결선 토너먼트. Only the absolute best 16 teams will successfully advance to the knockout stage. Nail-biting. Adjective. 조마조마한, 긴장감 넘치는. It was a truly nail-biting finish to an incredibly exciting championship race. Deadlock. Noun. 도착 상태. The ongoing labor negotiations have unfortunately reached a complete deadlock. Stoppage time. Noun phrase. 축구 추가 시간. The winning goal was spectacularly scored deep into the second half stoppage time. Pierce. Verb. 꿰뚫다, 관통하다. The bright morning sunlight managed to pierce heavily through the dark rain clouds. Clinch. Verb. 소사시키다, 승리를 결정짓다. The skillful boxer threw a fast punch to finally clinch the heavyweight title. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는. The fast economic growth achieved this year is completely unprecedented in history. Euphoric. Adjective. 큰 기쁨을 느끼는. 환희해. The passionate fans were completely euphoric after their underdog team won the cup. Relentless. Adjective. 끈질긴. 가차없는. The reporter's relentless questioning ultimately forced the politician to tell the truth. 시사용어 해설. Knockout stage. 결선 토너먼트. 조별리그. 그룹 스테이지가 끝나고 지는 순간 바로 탈락. knockout 하게 되는 승자 진출전 방식을 말합니다. 월드컵에서는 주로 16강전부터를 뜻합니다. stoppage time, 추가 시간, 인저리 타임. 축구 경기 도중 선수 부상, 선수 교체 등으로 인해 경기가 지연된 시간만큼 정규 시간 90분 끝에 심판이 추가로 부여하는 시간입니다. 8-3. Malawians fleeing unrest in South Africa ahead of anti-immigrant deadline. Thousands of Malawian migrant workers are desperately fleeing South Africa ahead of an ominous June 30 deadline, violently demanded by anti-immigrant protest groups. Various xenophobic movements and widespread social media posts have framed this date as a strict cutoff for undocumented foreign nationals to leave the country, blaming them for high local crime and rampant unemployment. Although the South African government explicitly clarified that this is not an official state ultimatum and that June 30 is merely a normal working day, raw fear of targeted violence is driving a mass exodus. Consequently, the Malawian government and sympathetic well-wishers have urgently mobilized funds to bus thousands of highly terrified, stranded citizens safely back home. This tragic situation severely highlights the deep-seated socioeconomic tensions heavily straining the African continent's most industrialized nation. Vocabulary. Desperately. Adverb. 절망적으로, 필사적으로. The trapped miners desperately waited for the rescue team to arrive. Flee. Verb. 달아나다, 도망치다. Thousands of innocent refugees were forced to flee across the border from the war. Ominous. Adjective. 불길한. Those dark, heavy clouds rolling in look incredibly ominous for our picnic. Xenophobic. Adjective. 외국인 혐오증에. The politician was heavily criticized for making deeply xenophobic comments on television. Undocumented. Adjective. 서류가 구비되지 않은 불법 체류에. Undocumented immigrants frequently face massive difficulties in finding legal employment. Rampant. Adjective. 걷잡을 수 없는, 만연하는. Rampant political corruption has completely destroyed the country's fragile economy. Ultimatum. Noun. 최후 통첩. The labor union issued a strict ultimatum to management regarding the wage dispute. Exodus. Noun. 대탈출, exodus. The terrible drought resulted in a massive exodus of farmers to the big cities. Sympathetic. Adjective. 동정적인, 공감하는. The kind teacher was very sympathetic to the shy student's personal problems. Stranded. Adjective. 발이 묶인, 오도 가도 못하게 된. Hundreds of angry passengers were left stranded at the airport due to heavy snow. 시사용어 해설. Undocumented foreign nationals. 서류미비 외국인. 비자 나 체류 허가증 등 합법적으로 국가에 머물 수 있는 서류가 없는 외국인. 즉 흔히 말하는 불법 체류자를 지칭하는 인권 존중적이고 중립적인 행정 용어입니다. xenophobia, 제노포비아, 외국인 혐오. 이방인이라는 뜻의 제노와 공포증이라는 뜻의 포비아가 결합된 말로 자기 국가나 민족이 아닌 외부인에 대해 가지는 극도의 혐오나 배척 심리를 의미합니다. 경제 비랑기일수록 이러한 현상이 짙어집니다. 9. CBC Canada. 9.1. CBC Radio Canada becomes EBU full member, expanding global reach. Canada's national public broadcaster, CBC Radio Canada, has officially been promoted from an associate to a full member of the prestigious European Broadcasting Union, EBU. This historic international membership grants Canada unrestricted access to the EBU's extensive collaborative services, deeply including the highly valued Eurovision News Exchange and various investigative journalism networks. The unprecedented promotion directly follows a recent statutory amendment allowing non-European broadcasters with strong, independent public service media systems to completely join the alliance. Consequently, Canada is now officially eligible to submit a musical entry to the globally renowned Eurovision Song Contest, sparking immense public excitement. CBC executives enthusiastically described the strategic move as a major step toward deepening crucial international cooperation. Vocabulary. Broadcaster. Noun. 방송사. The national public broadcaster operates strictly without taking any commercial advertising. Prestigious. Adjective. 권위 있는, 명망 있는. Winning the highly prestigious Nobel Prize completely changed the humble scientist's life. Unrestricted. Adjective. 제한 없는. VIP members are granted unrestricted access to the club's exclusive luxury facilities. Collaborative. Adjective. 협력적인, 공동의. The ultimate success of the research project was due to a highly collaborative effort. Investigative. Adjective. 탐사위, 조사위. The brave journalist won an award for her brilliant investigative reporting on corruption. Unprecedented. Adjective. 전례 없는. The extreme hurricane caused property damage on a completely unprecedented scale. Statutory. Adjective. 법정의, 정관의. The company was heavily fined for totally failing to meet its strict statutory obligations. Amendment. Noun. 개정, 수정안. The committee proposed a significant amendment to the club's outdated constitution. Eligible. Adjective. 자격이 있는, 적격의. You must be over 18 years old to be fully eligible to vote in the election. Renowned. Adjective. 유명한, 영성 있는. The lovely coastal region is globally renowned for its exceptional fine wine production. 시사용어 해설. European Broadcasting Union, EBU, 유럽 방송연맹. 유럽 및 주변 지역의 방송사들이 연합하여 만든 세계 최대 규모의 공영방송 기구입니다. 방송기술 표준화, 올림픽 등 스포츠 중계권 공동 교섭 등을 담당하며 인기 축제인 유로비전 송 콘테스트의 주관사이기도 합니다. Public Service Media, 공영 미디어. 상업 자본이나 정치 권력의 압력으로부터 독립하여 대중의 이익을 최우선으로 삼고 공정하게 정보를 제공하는 미디어를 뜻합니다. 영국의 BBC, 한국의 KBS, 캐나다의 CBC가 대표적입니다. 9-2. What's open and closed in Ottawa around Canada Day 2026? As the nation cheerfully prepares to celebrate Canada Day on Wednesday, July 1st, residents of Ottawa should anticipate significant sweeping changes to operating hours across the city. According to local guides, most major grocery stores, shopping malls, libraries, and government offices will securely close their doors for the midweek national holiday. Conversely, premier cultural institutions like the National Gallery and the Museum of History will remain wide open, eagerly offering free admission to all joyous visitors. Furthermore, city officials have strictly implemented extensive road and bridge closures, primarily concentrated around the LeBreton Flats area, to safely facilitate massive crowds attending the official afternoon concerts and evening fireworks. Public transit routes have also been substantially altered to quickly accommodate the massive influx of patriotic, celebrating citizens. Vocabulary. Anticipate. Verb. 예상하다, 기대하다. The organizers greatly anticipate a massive record turnout for the music festival. Sweeping. Adjective. 전면적인, 광범위한. The newly elected mayor promised sweeping reforms in the outdated education system. Conversely. Adverb. 반대로, 역으로. Some enjoy the hot summer. Conversely, others heavily prefer the cold winter snow flavor. Admission. Noun. 입장료, 인정. The museum generously offers completely free admission to all students on Sundays. Implement. Verb. 시행하다, 실행하다. The city council decided to implement strict new recycling rules immediately. Extensive. Adjective. 광범위한, 널리 미치는. The fire caused extensive property damage to the old historic downtown buildings. Facilitate. Verb. 용이하게 하다, 촉진하다.
clear communication will greatly facilitate the successful completion of the group project. Alter. Verb. 변경하다. 바꾸다. The pilot had to quickly alter the flight path to safely avoid the severe thunderstorm. Accommodate. Verb. 수용하다. 편의를 도모하다. The brand new stadium was built to easily accommodate over 50,000 cheering fans. Influx. Noun. 유입. 세도. The popular coastal town completely relies on the huge summer influx of wealthy tourists. 4. 시사용어 해설. Canada Day. 캐나다 데이. 1867년 7월 1일 영국의 여러 식민지들이 모여 연방을 결성하고 캐나다라는 하나의 자치령이 된 것을 기념하는 가장 큰 국경일입니다.
Number 9. 3. How to watch and listen to CBC's extravagant Canada Day 2026 live coverage. CBC has announced an incredibly comprehensive, coast-to-coast broadcasting schedule to vibrantly celebrate Canada Day 2026 across all its multiple media platforms. Kicking off early with live news coverage from Halifax, the network will seamlessly transition to broadcasting interactive community events and patriotic celebrations happening in major cities nationwide. The undeniable highlight of the festive day will be the spectacular evening concert special, broadcast live from Ottawa's Le Breton Flats. The star-studded musical event will feature phenomenal live performances by internationally renowned Canadian artists, such as Alessia Cara and Bare Naked Ladies. In a strong commitment to total accessibility, CBC will proudly present the evening shows with American and Quebec Sign Language interpretations, culminating in a dazzling firework display. Vocabulary. Comprehensive. Adjective. 포괄적인, 종합적인. The training manual offers a highly comprehensive guide to modern workplace safety. Coast to coast. Adjective. 대륙의 한쪽 해안에서 다른 쪽 해안까지, 전국적인. The president began a massive coast-to-coast campaign tour to rally his voters. Vibrantly. Adverb. 활기차게, 생기 넘치게. The busy market was vibrantly decorated with heavily colored flags and bright lights. Seamlessly. Adverb. 매끄럽게, 이음새 없이. The clever software allows you to seamlessly sync all data across multiple mobile devices. Undeniable. Adjective. 부인할 수 없는, 명백한. The young player possesses undeniable natural talent for playing professional basketball. Spectacular. Adjective. 장관을 이루는, 화려한. The steep mountain peak offers a truly spectacular view of the beautiful valley below. Phenomenal. Adjective. 경이로운, 엄청난. The critically acclaimed film was a phenomenal success at the global box office. Accessibility. Noun. 접근성, 이해하기 쉬움. The new public library greatly improved accessibility for visitors in large wheelchairs. Interpretation. Noun. 통역, 해석. The deaf student completely relies on sign language interpretation during long lectures. Culminate in. Idiom. 으로 절정에 달하다, 으로 끝나다. The week-long cultural festival will culminate in a massive parade through the city. 시사용어 해설. Coast to coast. 해안에서 해안까지. 대서양과 태평양. 두 개의 커다란 바다에 걸쳐있는 북미, 캐나다, 미국에서 국가 전체를 아우르는 전국적인이라는 의미로 자주 쓰는 표현입니다. Accessibility, 접근성. 신체적 장애가 있는 사람들도 건축물, 대중교통, 그리고 방송 매체, 수어 통역, 화면 해설 등을 불편함 없이 이용할 수 있도록 보장하는 권리와 인프라 수준을 뜻합니다.
10. DD India. 10-1. Team India wins 5 medals at Global Skills Challenge Australia 2026. Team India delivered an exceptionally impressive performance at the prestigious Global Skills Challenge, GSC, held recently in Australia, proudly securing a total of 5 medals, including 3 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. The intense international technical competition successfully brought together nearly 600 young professionals from 16 different countries to brightly showcase their cutting-edge expertise in various vocational skills. Indian participants particularly excelled and dominated in highly advanced technological categories such as additive manufacturing, cloud computing, and 3D digital game art. This remarkable triumph undeniably serves as a massive motivational boost to the country's earnest preparations for the upcoming 48th World Skills Competition in Shanghai. Government officials noted that this shining success perfectly reflects the rapidly growing global competitiveness of India's youth and the effectiveness of the National Skill India mission. Vocabulary. Deliver. Verb. 해내다. 성과를 내다. The lead actor delivered an outstanding performance in the final scene of the movie. Secure. Verb. 확보하다, 획득하다. She managed to firmly secure a substantial bank loan to start her new business. Showcase. Verb. 선보이다, 전시하다. The outdoor festival is an excellent opportunity to showcase unique local artistic talent. Cutting edge. Adjective. 최첨단의. The hospital is heavily equipped with cutting-edge medical scanning technology. Expertise. Noun. 전문 지식, 전문 기술. The software engineer has a very high level of expertise in complex cybersecurity systems. Vocational. Adjective. 직업에, 직업과 관련된. Vocational training schools prepare young students directly for the practical job market. Excel. Verb. 뛰어나다, 탁월하다. He has always excelled in foreign languages and complex international relations. Triumph. Noun. 대성공, 승리. The successful lunar landing was a truly great triumph for human space exploration. Earnest. Adjective. 성실한, 진심 어린. The charity made an earnest appeal for quick public donations to help the victims. Upcoming. Adjective. 다가오는, 곧 있을. The politician is actively preparing hard for the heavily anticipated upcoming election. Competitiveness. Noun. 경쟁력. Constant innovation is the absolute key to maintaining our global economic competitiveness. 시사용어 해설. Vocational skills. 직업 기술, 기능. 대학에서 배우는 학문적인 연구가 아니라 산업 현장에서 직접적으로 쓰이는 실용적이고 전문적인 기술을 뜻합니다. 예, 용접, 목공, 코딩, 3D 프린팅 등. Additive manufacturing. 적층 제조. 우리가 흔히 3D 프린팅이라고 부르는 기술의 정식 산업 용어입니다. 재료를 깎아서 모양을 만드는, 절삭하는 것이 아니라 소재를 층층이 쌓아 올려 additive, 물건을 제조하는 방식을 말합니다.
1012. India, Saudi Arabia sign MOU to boost cooperation in water resources. India and Saudi Arabia have officially signed a comprehensive Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, specifically aimed at aggressively boosting bilateral cooperation in vital water resources management. The strategic agreement was successfully inked on the busy sidelines of the Saudi Water Week event, held in Jeddah, attended by top officials from both historically allied nations. Under this forward-looking pact, the two countries will deeply collaborate on sustainable water planning, highly efficient irrigation systems, and the mutual exchange of valuable technical expertise. Officials confidently noted that the initiative directly addresses growing global water security challenges exacerbated by severe climate change. Furthermore, this collaborative green effort perfectly complements the rapidly expanding strategic partnership between India and Saudi Arabia beyond traditional energy sectors into crucial environmental sustainability. Vocabulary. Comprehensive. Adjective. 포괄적인, 종합적인. The firm conducted a highly comprehensive review of its outdated financial records. Bilateral. Adjective. 양자간의, 쌍방의. The two nations joyfully signed a new bilateral agreement on environmental protection. Ink. Verb. 계약서 등에 서명하다. The star athlete finally inked a highly lucrative 5-year deal with the famous team. Sideline. Noun. 부대 행사. 가장자리. The diplomats held a secret meeting on the sidelines of the busy global summit. Forward-looking. Adjective. 미래지향적인. The tech company has always adopted a very forward-looking approach to innovation. Sustainable. Adjective. 지속 가능한. We must quickly invest in sustainable clean energy sources to heavily protect the planet. Irrigation. Noun. 관계. 물을 댐.
Modern irrigation systems significantly help farmers save vast amounts of fresh water. Mutual. Adjective. 상호간에, 서로의. True friendship is always based entirely on mutual trust and absolute respect. Exacerbate. Verb. 악화시키다. His angry and rude comments only serve to exacerbate an already tense situation. Complement. Verb. 보완하다. 돋보이게 하다. The excellent spicy sauce perfectly complements the rich flavor of the grilled meat. MOU. Memorandum of Understanding. 양해각서. 두 국가나 기관이 정식 조약이나 계약을 맺기 전에 서로의 합의 내용과 협력 의지를 기록해두는 공식적인 문서입니다. 법적 구속력은 약하지만 신뢰를 바탕으로 한 외교적 약속입니다.
이리게이션, 관계. 농사를 짓기 위해 댐, 저수지, 수로 등을 만들어 농경지에 인공적으로 물을 끌어다 대는 기술을 말합니다. 사막 기후인 중동에서 매우 중요한 기술입니다. 10.3. Health Ministry launches national strategy for safe motherhood and newborn care. The Indian Health Ministry has officially launched a highly ambitious national strategy specifically designed to drastically improve safe motherhood and newborn care across the vast nation. This comprehensive healthcare initiative strongly focuses on expanding essential medical access for vulnerable pregnant women, particularly those living in remote rural areas and deeply marginalized communities. The government has firmly promised to deploy modern digital health initiatives, such as the newly rolled out Arogya Setu 2.0, to completely strengthen the foundational healthcare ecosystem. Health officials boldly emphasize that prioritizing maternal health is an absolute prerequisite for reducing both maternal mortality rates, MMR, and infant mortality rates, IMR. Ultimately, this strategic rollout represents a vital humanitarian step toward building a healthier, much more resilient future generation in India. Vocabulary. Ambitious. Adjective. 야심찬, 어마어마한. The young architect revealed a highly ambitious plan to build the world's tallest tower. Drastically. Adverb. 과감하게, 획기적으로. The new CEO quickly managed to drastically reduce the company's operating costs. Vulnerable. Adjective. 취약한, 상처받기 쉬운. Newborn babies are exceptionally vulnerable to various types of cold winter infections abroad. Remote. Adjective. 외딴, 멀리 떨어진. The tiny village is located in a very remote area of the dense mountain range. Marginalized. Adjective. 소외된, 주변화된. The charity focuses heavily on educating severely marginalized youth in the city. Deploy. Verb. 배치하다, 활용하다. The police decided to deploy additional armed officers to carefully control the large crowd. Foundational. Adjective. 기초적인, 근본적인. Reading comprehension is a highly foundational skill for all advanced academic learning. Prerequisite. Noun. 전제 조건. Passing the tough basic exam is an absolute prerequisite for entering the advanced class. Mortality rate. Noun phrase. 사망률. Improved global sanitation has successfully lowered the terrible child mortality rate. Resilient. Adjective. 회복력 있는, 탄력 있는. Children are surprisingly resilient and can often quickly bounce back from deep emotional trauma. 시사용어 해설. Maternal mortality rate, MMR, 모성 사망률. 임신 중이거나 출산 후 42일 이내에 임신이나 출산과 관련된 원인으로 사망하는 여성의 비율을 의미합니다. 국가의 기초 의료 및 보건복지 수준을 가늠하는 매우 중요한 지표입니다. Digital Health Initiatives, 디지털 헬스 이니셔티브. 스마트폰 앱, 원격 진료, 전자의무 기록 등을 활용하여 국민들이 병원에 직접 가지 않고도 의료 정보를 얻고 관리받을 수 있도록 하는 정부의 정책이나 프로젝트를 말합니다.